When you are trying to figure out what kind of content you should create, look at what has already worked for your competitors. BuzzSumo and Ahrefs Content Explorer are tools which tell what competitors' content is the best. When we started our agency, we used competitive analysis to guide our content plan. We used a service like BuzzSumo to track what our competitors were doing. What we found is that most of our competitors' successful posts were digests. Digests are usually a type of top 10 list that rank certain products. After we saw how successful they were, we started creating digests of our own. For example, we had a digest that read top 120 internet marketing blogs. By reusing content regularly, our posts have generated 1.5 million views to date. I recommend using the PNP formula if you want your content to sell. The PNP principle uses 3 different types of content. These are professional, news, and personal. Professional content is where you share your expertise. To sell on social media, you have to be an expert at something. An expert in internet marketing, an expert in home appliances, an expert in snow removal, etc. If you want your social media to sell, you must have a lot of professional content. At least a third of your content should be professional. The second type of content is news content. Things are always changing within your market. Changes to Google and Facebook serve as extremely important content for our audience. We'll let our clients know about these changes to give them an edge and increase their sales. A bad example of news content is press releases. This is news that no one usually reads. Posting a news article about an award your company won is an example of great news content. It is easier to overlook news content, but don't, it is important, trust me. Personal content is where you show your actual face. Social media users trust people, not brands. Therefore, if you want to build a loyal following, you must have good personal content. An example of good personal content is success stories and reviews of something. For instance, if a person has written a review about your product and stated that it changed their life, that is excellent personal content. Bad personal content would be to post a picture of you at a party. Okay, so now you know about the 3 types of content. I like to use a 3-to-1 proportion when divided up how much of each content should go on my platforms. For example, you make 6 posts in a week, 6 publications on Facebook, or you release 6 videos on YouTube a month. At least 3 of them must be professional content, 2 of them should be news content, 1 should be personal content. Now I'm going to give you some professional content examples from Udemy. As an educational project, Udemy constantly talks how to learn in more efficient way. An example of such content is the article you see in the screenshot. The first example is 12 business ethics examples. Our second example is what is business analysis in the 21st century. I recommend using this type of format. Personal content shows the face of an expert. The user wants to see people who are like him. And that's where success stories come in. A success story is when your company's product or service changed their life, and then they write about it. You can easily obtain a success story in the educational field. For example, after completing this course, we'll use you as a success story if you write good feedback. It's much more tricky in a B2B business, and it takes longer for feedback to happen. I always find it a good idea to hold alumni conference once or twice a year. I invite all my graduates and encourage them to share their success stories. I also communicate with our blog audience and our subscribers on our social networks to get success stories. It's tough to get your first success story, but it is worth it. The reviews you receive are an important part of your business. Google, Facebook, and Instagram have their own section where people can post reviews. If you don't have any good product reviews, negative reviews about your product could change the perception of your product for the worst. I will talk more about how to manage reviews in the reputation management section. I want to show you how we at Web Promo Experts divide up the 3 types of content. I often see a lot of confusion about what appropriate personal content is. This is a good example of good personal content. In this photo you can see me, Max, Cole, Nadia, and many other people who work on our courses. All these pictures have one thing in common. They are all business related. Your pictures should also reflect what is going on inside your company. Try to show what your company is all about and how it works.